Alright. Hey guys, how's it going? So, Twiggs here. I'm here to talk about Tower of Fantasy. I got a lot to say about this game. I've been playing it a little bit on Twitch. I never put any gameplay on YouTube, mostly because I wasn't sure how to feel about the game. I know a lot of people are gonna grab their pitchforks, come charging at me, try to tell me, no, this game's the greatest thing ever. You're high as a kite. but so that's just a preview of what my thoughts are. But before we jump into that, I want you guys to, if you could, and I appreciate it a lot, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you guys will be informed anytime I go live or upload any new content. So definitely do that. I appreciate it a lot. So, Tower of Fantasy. So I actually just got done playing this game. And what my goal was to get Nemesis. That was my goal. My goal was to get Nemesis. And well, let me just go over my thoughts on the game before I jump into the hilarity of me trying to get Nemesis. Nemesis, by the way, is this girl right here, who happens to be this girl. There's Nemesis. Right here. That was my goal. My goal was to get Nemesis. There she is again. So, my thoughts. Tower of Fantasy is a action MMO RPG open world game, and it was definitely I can't remember who made Tower of Fantasy, but it was definitely the developers and the publisher. Their goal was to make a game that could capitalize on the genre and the popularity that Hoyoverse made with Genshin Impact. The only difference, well, there's a few differences, but one of the main differences between Tower Fantasy and Genshin Impact is that they dive more into the MMO multiplayer part of the game. Genshin Impact, yes, there is multiplayer to it, but you don't have to do the multiplayer. You can literally ignore the multiplayer completely. Tower Fantasy, it leans more into multiplayer. Some of the bosses are actually very, very, very difficult, and that it would actually benefit you a lot to pop open the multiplayer, matchmake with some people, and take on the boss. Or in this case, Tower Fantasy actually has PvP. You can fight other players. I dived into that, and it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes you fight people that just don't really know what they're doing, and sometimes you fight people that really do know how to combine the abilities of the weapons to stomp you. But I'm not going to dive into the PvP section because I'm not really into PvP. A lot of games I don't dive into PvP much at all. I always like PvE, story, and all that stuff. PvE, yeah, PvE. So, when it comes to the gameplay, I think Tower Fantasy has pretty good gameplay. A lot of the enemies you fight are kind of in this picture. There's a lot of short little enemies that are kind of like your hilly churls from Genshin Impact. You got these robots that are actually got some tricky abilities that can stun you or freeze you. And then there are a couple other types of enemies, but you're mostly running into these guys. There are some like dudes that have like these laser swords. They're pretty tough, but I think, in my opinion, the robots are the most annoying. Like these guys right here. There's also a bigger version of them. So that's mostly what you mostly the gameplay. The trick is to mix and match these different types of weapons. You want to try to mix a main DPS type weapon with a healing weapon until you're like later on in the game, and then healing it's still necessary, but it's not that necessary. And then whatever floats your boat on your third weapon. Sometimes I mix in a bow just for long range support. That's typically what I go for. But you can mix and match any type of 3 weapons you want. And then each weapon has its own ability, it has its own attribute. There's fire, ice, lightning. Those are the main 3. So the gameplay's not bad. It's not bad at all. The characters are more so just skins, but the characters that you end up getting are actually characters in the game. Characters aren't bad. This girl's really cool. This dude just tries to be like super, super edgy. And I haven't really met these 2 characters. Don't really have much to say about them. You got this girl over here. She's cute. Has a chakram that's actually a really badass weapon. Also, there's also this other woman who happens to be a bow character. She's neat. So you got yourself a good cast of characters, which is what you want whenever you're starting off an MMO RPG. But my issue with the characters is that maybe this is just my point of view, but I don't feel like they flushed out the characters to where you really want to care about them. Really, the only character that you really feel or try to get any connection to is Nemesis. Nemesis is really the only character that you ever get any kind of connection to besides the main character, because they're the only characters that they seem to try to flesh out their backstory. So, and then to add on to another point with the story, the main character feels so weird when it comes to power scaling in the story. Let's compare it to Genshin Impact. In Genshin Impact story, the Traveler actually is up there in power level and power scaling. The Traveler was able to, I mean, you hear it in the story. The Traveler is praised for defeating Dvalin. Ended up taming Dvalin so that he's not a dick anymore. We defeated Child in the Leeway story. We then eventually defeated Signora in battle. We didn't kill her. That was right, and Shogun did that. But we defeated her. And we know that the Traveler is very intelligent because we found out in the We Will Be Reunited quest line that the Traveler was figuring out everything without even telling us, the player, or the Paimon. So the Traveler is also very intelligent. The Traveler is very strong. But in this game, the main character is always having to be rescued. When she first battled the red-haired lady with that was part of the evil organization, she was defeated. Okay, makes sense. But then the main character goes and battles this one boy who was suffering from an illness, and his dad tried to save him, but he ended up turning him into a monster. We got into a battle with him. And then eventually the battle didn't look good for us, and we had to be rescued. And the pattern just follows and follows and follows. We get into a battle, and eventually we have to be rescued. So that's another thing I don't like. Maybe this is just me coming from Genshin Impact. That's a fair assessment. But that's another issue I have with the story. Is that the main character doesn't feel strong. The main character doesn't even feel like they pose much of a threat. Every time we go and try to follow the evil organization, we end up just feeling like we're being defeated. Or I wouldn't say feeling like we're being defeated, but it's more like we're being ignored because we're not. Yeah, that's a better assessment. It feels like we're being ignored and we're just a nuisance that happens to be tagging along. And that would definitely be my other issue with the story. Is that the main character not just only feels weak, but feels like a nuisance. It kind of reminds me of the story that was used in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Every time our Pokemon trainer was trying to get involved with the main plot line with the villains, I can't remember their organization. The champion and his friend would always just shoo us away and say, hey, go back to your Pokemon journey. We'll take care of the bad guys. No! I don't want to do that. I can take a break from that. I can take a break from my Pokemon journey to help you defeat the bad guys. That's how it was with every other Pokemon game. But that's how it feels here. Yes, though, we got our journey. We got to turn off all the towers so we can stop doing whatever it is that's going on. I know there's something to do with time and stuff, and aberration. But every time we go and try to catch up with the evil group that has Nemesis, Shirley, that was her name, Shirley, we just get shooed away, or we get beat up and then we get kicked to the curb. And it's annoying. Why can't the main character at least pose a threat? I'm not asking for the main character to be OP and be having them run off because they're scared of us. No, I'm just wanting the main character to pose a threat and not seem like a nuisance. So that's my qualm with the story. That's my main qualm. My other issues is that the story just isn't really that interesting. The main point of the story is to catch up and save Shirley, but her brothers join this evil organization because he feels like that's the only way he's going to save his sister, which I understand that, brother-sister bond. But when it looks at everything else, it just feels like going to each little town, doing little busy work that happens to have the evil organization taking some part in it. And it just doesn't feel that interesting. Yes, I know there's time travel stuff going on with it, and that is kind of neat, but it's just nothing about the story grabs at me, pulls me into it, that makes me want to keep playing. And that's partly due to what I was saying earlier about the characters. None of the characters really seem that interesting. Nor do they serve any genuine purpose other than the characters that are involved with the evil organization that its name escapes me. So that's my main quips with gameplay and the story. My other issue is that the game really is not fully developed. There was a lot of instances where characters whenever the characters are talking to each other, when there's dialogue going on, they'll be in the middle of talking and just cut or just quickly flip to a different pose. Or some voice lines are not even dubbed. Or anything. Half the time, whenever I hear dialogue, half the dialogue's not even voiced. um, Sometimes I end up clipping off of the map. I'll be literally riding my little surfboard, and then all of a sudden I'm falling into the abyss. That's even happened when I'm climbing mountains. I end up clipping for the mountains and falling into the abyss. Or I'll just be running down a hill, and then I end up clipping and falling into the abyss. So there are a lot of glitches, a lot of issues with the voice, the dialogue, the voice acting. Nothing against the voice actors. For some reason, the voice lines aren't just being spoken, unless the developers were just too lazy to get those lines voiced, which I don't understand why. So, a lot of weirdness to the game. And then when it comes to the gacha system, it is better in some instances than Genshin Impact, because the pity is at 80. Once you get to 80, you get an SSR character, and your pity doesn't. And if you happen to get an SSR character before pity, your pity's not reset. Your pity is still locked to 80 wishes. Pools, whatever you want to call it. So that's cool, and the rates are a little better, but this is what pisses me off, and this is what really made me want to just stop playing the game. And I don't understand this, and there's no way you can convince me to understand this. So, back to what I was saying earlier in the video. I was trying to pull for Nemesis. I have not gotten a single character off of Nemesis's banner. Well, let me rephrase. I have not gotten a single SSR character on Nemesis's banner. Nemesis took me all the way to... Alright. I went all the way to 80 wishes or pulls. All the way. I had to hit hard pity to get an SSR character on Nemesis's banner. Well, let me compare this to, again, it's a game that they're trying to make themselves similar to, Genshin Impact. On your first time wishing on an event banner, you are guaranteed the event character. You are guaranteed, which makes sense. This is your first time pulling on the event banner. You should get the character on the event banner, because you have not used your pity. So let's say like right now we got Tignari. Tignari right now is the event character in Genshin Impact. If you just started playing Genshin Impact, the first time you get a 5-star character, it will be Tignari. So, this is my first time playing Tower Fantasy. Obviously, it just came out. So I go all the way to 80 wishes on Nemesis's banner. Obviously, I'm trying to get Nemesis. Why else am I wishing on Nemesis's banner? I end up getting this dude over here. My first time getting an SSR character on an event banner. And it's not even the event character. I ended up getting another character. My first SSR character on the event banner was not the event character. So, you're telling me that, yes, this is my experience, but other people are going to end up, if this happened to me, it's going to happen to other people. Other people are going to be wishing for the first time on the event banner. Again, remember, this game just recently came out. And they're going to be wishing for Nemesis. Your first event banner character, and you're saying they're not guaranteed to get the event character, the character that you want people pulling for, because your game just came out and this character is a main character in the story. The whole story is centered around this character. And you're saying that they are not guaranteed on the very first event banner to get this character. Again, my first character on the event banner was this dude. Apparently his name's Zero. When I saw Zero, again, I had to go all the way to hard pity. I had to go all the way to 80 pulls. And I was like, alright, I worked for it. I went all the way to hard pity. 80 fucking pulls on the event banner. Hard pity. And I'm like, alright, I worked for it. Give me Nemesis. Bam. Oh, damn it. Bam. Got Zero. And when I saw that, it hit me. I literally immediately thought, I have not gotten a single SSR character. And my first SSR character on this event banner. Yes, I've gotten SSR characters on the standard banner. But my first SSR character on the event banner is not even the event character. Which means I was having to fight the 50-50 on the first SSR character I'm getting. So, when I immediately hit me, you take that really was the last straw on the camel's back. The last straw, it was the last straw. And just pile that on top of all my other issues. I was already feeling iffy about the game. I literally said, fuck this. I exited out of the game. I pulled the game up in my files. And I deleted it. If you can't even give your players for pity right on their first time wishing on an event banner, screw you. First time wishing on the event banner, had to go all the way to hard pity. I was fine with that. But not even be guaranteed the character when this is my first time wishing on the event banner, that's a big F you to me. And that's a big F you to any other people who wished on this and lost the 50-50. You shouldn't have to fight the 50-50 the first time you're trying to get an SSR character on the event banner. That's the dumbest marketing idea I've ever heard. You want to make your players satisfied by giving them the character for their first time wishing on that banner, and then making them want to pull more. They're like they get the satisfaction. They're like, oh yes, I got the character on the event banner, and then that gives them that dopamine hit, and then they just want to keep wishing on the banner. Yeah, it's kind of manipulative, but granted, it's a gotcha game. What do you expect? So, that's my thoughts on Tower of Fantasy. It has potential. It definitely has potential. But the average story mixed with the average gameplay I mean, nothing about the game is bad other than the gotcha system, and that's just because I got burned. So I'm a little opinionated on that. I'll admit it. I'll 100% admit it. I was burned, and that affected my opinion. But this whole video is my opinion. It's completely subjective. But I was burned, so I'm not going to have the greatest thoughts on the gotcha system. And add everything else, like I said, everything else about the game is average. The game, besides the gotcha system, doesn't do really bad at everything, but it doesn't do anything great or spectacular. It just does average. And so, that's my thoughts on Tower Fantasy. Just an average game. It's okay, but not great. If you love the game, great. That's you, and I 100% support your opinion. And like I said, this video is my opinion, therefore very subjective. But that's my thoughts. Leave some comments down below on what your thoughts are on Tower Fantasy. Are you loving it? Are you about it? Tell me if you managed to get Nemesis on your first pull on the event banner, so that way I can feel that salt in my wound. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you guys later.